So, random question. Does anybody need
No.
a dresser?
Why?
Because I have a dresser in the shop that's just eating up space, and
Oh.
it just needs to be cleaned up. It's a good antique dresser.
Sell it.
Yeah.
Well, actually, one guy did come by the shop and he's like, "Hey, is that a toilet?" "Yes, it's a toilet. I'll take it." "Fine, take the toilet."
Hey, if you need a toilet, you need a toilet.
Yeah.
You get it, yeah.
Yeah, so literally, I just recorded all that whole conversation. I'm hoping the whole toilet thing fucking begins this episode.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Film Asylum. We are your hosts, Colin Peters.
John Rochetter.
Wow, dude, I was expecting something.
Yeah,
I was like ready to fucking just...
Like I said, I like to
pounce
mess
on you.
with my enemies. I like to give them a break here and there, and maybe, just maybe, when they don't expect it, I get them.
I'm impressed right now, dude. I was expecting something.
Are you getting choked up right now?
A little bit. I'm gonna cry later. Jeff Manford, by the way.
Yeah, we got a twofer today. We're actually kicking off the holiday season.
Wait. Is it really a twofer, though? If you think about it,
Yeah,
it's like 1.5, maybe.
That's a good point.
Yeah. Well, we're going to get into the details about that, but at the moment, it's technically two.
Let's call it 1.5, the exclusive punish cut.
We're kicking off the holiday season here, but with us, it's not just going to be a happy-go-lucky holiday kickoff. It's actually going to be horror-related, and we're going to be kicking off the holiday season Horror Fest with Silent Night, Deadly Night, Part 1 and Part 2.
Oh, man. I've actually been looking forward to talking about this particular
I know you
movie.
have.
Dude, you wouldn't shut up about it. Come on.
Because of Garbage Day?
Yes.
It's the best time of the year.
What, Garbage Day?
Yeah.
It's a weekly tradition.
Forget Christmas, forget Krampus. It's Garbage Day. This is a horror movie that came out in 1984 among the other slew of slasher movies. This was written by Michael Hickey and directed by Charles E. Sellier Jr., famous for being one of the creative forces behind the Grizzly Adams TV series.
This was a fucking Grizzly Adams TV series?
Yes. Yeah, he was responsible for it.
I didn't
Or
know
at least
about
one of the
that
driving forces behind it. Yeah, this movie... First of all, I think the title is very ridiculous. Does anybody think the title's ridiculous?
Oh, Silent Night, Deadly Night?
Yeah.
Yeah, come on.
It's the most 80s sounding title I've ever heard in a horror movie.
It's nothing but ridiculous. This whole series is ridiculous.
I can't believe it's a series.
Yes.
Oh my god. I mean, how many sequels and a remake are to this?
Yeah, there's 5 original movies and then 1 remake right now.
Isn't that more than Ninja Turtles?
Yeah.
Definitely.
Oh my god.
Wait, hold on. 3. No. It's exactly
We
the
had
same.
to really think
Wow.
about that one. Oh, man.
That's crazy.
Yeah, this movie definitely has some fans, loyal fans to it, and actually one that was surprising, actually maybe not so surprising, is Quentin Tarantino absolutely loves this film. In fact, he and Robert Rodriguez, during I think the 2007 Austin Film Festival, they recreated the grandfather scene in the first movie, word for word. And that's a long scene. The grandfather has all these crazy monologues, and the kid's just looking like he's getting the shit scared out of him. Hey, we want her for. She can help you. Nobody can. You scared? You should be. I can't do the whole thing. It's so ridiculously long, but it's kind of amazing yet funny at the same time.
All right, well, before we get too into the ridiculousness of this, we got to break down what exactly Silent Night, Deadly Night consists of. And it's about a little boy with his family. He has a brother who's probably not even a year old yet.
It's a baby. Yeah,
Okay.
Probably a few months old.
And
Listen, I don't know. The car seat he was in, and the fact the mom was carrying him in the front fucking seat.
Yeah,
But that was the 80s at the time, so it was just
yeah,
ridiculous.
that's true. But it's also 80s filmmaking.
Yeah.
And the low budget filmmaking at that.
Mm-hmm. It cost about $1 million.
What? Dude, it looked like they reached in their pocket. Whatever change they had for the day. It was
According to them, it cost $1 million to make. But we all know that those numbers can fluctuate. No, it was actually less. It was a little bit more. I'm thinking it was probably less, but they wanted to say, hey, we look professional. This cost $1 million, not $300,000.
I think it'd be more impressive if they kept it low instead of saying, yeah, we had $1 million to spend, and it was like, oh, really?
What'd you spend it on exactly?
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like, yo, I think you'd might say, yeah, we only had $600,000.
Honestly, I think the one thing I did find about this movie was ridiculous was the fact that it got banned in 1984 because everyone saying that Santa was such a
Holly Jolly.
Yeah, and you've got a murdering Santa, and then the company that originally had it went bankrupt because of it, so they had to sell the rights. And then in 1985 is when they re-released it for a summer release.
About that controversy, I definitely want to touch on that because nowadays I find the whole thing completely ridiculous and stupid why it was so controversial. Because like you said, people are saying it's Santa Claus. It's not really Santa Claus. It's a guy dressed like him who looks nothing like him, except for the suit. He's not fat. He's not jolly. He doesn't say, ho, ho, ho. It says, punish, constantly.
I just want to point this out. The dude kind of looked like Tom Brady in a Santa outfit.
Yeah. Dude, that guy was built, too.
Yeah, I know.
What's that orphanage feeding him?
Yeah, let me finish this synopsis. Because nobody's going to know what the fuck we're talking about unless they've seen this movie. But a boy and his family are going to see their grandfather, and it's not an old folks' home. It's actually a mental institution.
Yes.
Am I right?
It is a mental institution.
He's almost a vegetable. Like, he sits there and really doesn't interact with anybody.
He's in a catatonic state, doesn't say
exactly.
anything.
And the boy's left on his own with the grandfather, and the grandfather comes out of his catatonic state and basically just tells him that if you're not a good boy, and if you're naughty, and that's a key word, Santa's gonna punish you. And then he gets freaked out about it, and parents don't believe him that the grandfather spoke. And on their way back home, he's excited and nervous that they're not going to make it home in bedtime because he wants to see Santa Claus. Here they find out there's a Santa on the road. Here it's actually a criminal dressed as a Santa Claus, and he winds up murdering the mother and the father, and the little boy witnesses this in front of his eyes. He gets taken to an orphanage then along with his brother, and they understand his situation, and he's very different because of it. He's affected by Christmas differently. He sees Santa Claus in a different light. And instead of actually the kid getting help, he's punished from the Mother Superior, and she doesn't really help him. It's just all like, if the more you punish him, the better he'll get. And it's actually really sad and tragic how they treat him.
It's a goddamn Nazi orphanage. I mean, Jesus.
And as he's growing up, he gets a job, and he's still affected by the trauma that had affected him since he was a little kid. They put him in a Santa Claus outfit because I guess the replacement for the...
Yeah, I think he broke his leg ice skating. Or
something like
that.
That
was the excuse. Oh, okay. Something 80s.
So they dress him up, and it sets him off when he's in the outfit and he sees people doing bad things, and he goes on a murdering spree dressed as Santa Claus then. And that's Silent Night, Deadly Night.
I mean, the moments that you were talking about for that story, there is a good story somewhere in this movie. Because that's fascinating. When you get these 80s movies, you're focused on these mannequins that are just butchered. They're lambs to the slaughter, and then you're not really given any time to focus on the killer. This movie is about the killer.
Did you just say mannequin in the 80s?
I just said mannequin in the 80s.
I love that movie.
I knew you would like that. Yes, because most of the 80s body count, it's all cannon fodder that we don't give a shit about, but this movie actually focuses on the killer and what he went through. Like you said, it is a tragic story. And being this kid, I don't blame him for a second for hating Christmas. I don't blame him for a second not wanting to be anywhere near a Santa Claus. He clocked one Santa Claus during an encounter at the orphanage.
He did.
Yeah, Mother Superior doesn't seem to understand. You don't know what he went through, and the one Sister Margaret, she's the only one that actually makes any sense in this orphanage. Like, you can't be doing this. You have to treat him differently because he's in a very fragile state of mind. No, your idea is to force Christmas down his fucking throat until he loves and appreciates Santa Claus.
I don't know. The picture that he drew of Santa getting murdered was probably the funniest thing about that movie. Because they're like, oh, hang up your Christmas picture. Come on, Billy. Fucking hangs us up and he's murdering Santa. I'm like, oh, fuck me, right?
I was going to say the mullet. I thought that was more terrifying.
Listen,
No, see, that was part of his punishment. Having that mullet.
Was having the mullet. We've had tons of Santa Claus movies with a twist. I mean, there was Krampus that came out in 2015. There was Fred Claus with Vince Vaughn dealing with being the brother of Santa Claus and kind of being an outcast. Rare Exports. It's a horror movie from Finland, which I recommend. It's a very underwatched movie. Have you seen it, Jeff? It's awesome. I love that.
I'm shaking my head yes. I forget that we're not, being
And even
filmed.
there's this new movie that came out called Fat Man with Mel Gibson, where he plays Santa Claus as a hitman, and people are trying to kill him whenever he gives them coal for Christmas.
What?
Dude,
Yes, I'm serious.
you forgot one big one, though.
What was
You
that?
forgot Santa Sleigh with Bill fucking Goldberg, man.
I forgot he did multiple movies other than The Longest Yard.
Or How the Grinch Killed Christmas?
The Grinch Killed.
No,
Yeah,
I don't know. I
just.
just made that up. Because it sounded good.
Oh my god. Yeah, this movie had a limited box office run. It cost, like I said, about $1 million, but it still managed $4 million in select theaters. And I don't believe this. This movie went up against A Nightmare on Elm Street, and it ended up outpacing it.
Really?
It ended up making more money than A Nightmare on Elm Street, which
Well,
at the time it did.
Well, Elm Street came out in November. You said that Silent Night, Deadly Night was a summer release?
Well, originally came out in, I think, December.
Oh, okay.
Yes, so it actually ended up outpacing the damn movie, but thing is, one is legendary to this day, while the other is almost forgotten entirely because of the slew of other countless slasher movies. I mean,
Is it, though? I'm just saying. We're here talking about it, so
Yeah.
is it really forgotten?
no, it's not really for some. I guarantee, like some people have no idea what the hell this movie is. Guarantee you, even if they're like casual horror fans. Yes, we're a different crop,
It's a different breed.
a different breed.
We're spreading this out to the masses now.
Listen,
This
I brought
podcast.
this movie up to a couple guys at work because they're always getting asked about movies. I'm like, all right, I got a Christmas movie for you guys, and I explained the whole situation. They're like, oh, that sounds good. I go, just watch the trailer.
Yeah.
Yeah, the most of them looked at me like I was crazy, which I am, but
A padded cell for you too.
absolutely.
That's the title of the show.
Like I said, this movie does a lot of things differently than compared to the other slasher movies. When looking about the history of this movie and how it came to be, there were decisions that should have been made that were not made. I mean, looking at Charles Sellier Jr., he's directing this movie. He doesn't really have a lot of directing experience beforehand. He was an executive producer on the Grizzly Adams TV show, and he produced In Search of Noah's Ark and In Search of Historic Jesus, two religious-based movies. Not exactly the kind of guy that you want to have on your team when you're directing a slasher movie that is very much so a slasher movie from the 80s. I mean, this studio interviewed Sam Raimi. That was your biggest mistake right there. Why didn't you hire him? He already had The Evil Dead on his belt. He already had a cult classic horror film to boot. 4 years into his career, why didn't you hire him? The guy already knows the horror genre, and I guarantee you, if Sam Raimi had directed this movie, it would have been incredible.
Well, that and probably Bruce Campbell was going to be Billy.
Probably. I guarantee you that there would have been some executive decisions made by Sam Raimi that would have been for the better. Instead, like I said, they get a guy who didn't really have much directing experience. And even the studio said that they wanted somebody like John Carpenter. They wanted somebody with young blood, enthusiastic, and they wanted somebody who had their whole career ahead of them. Yet they hired somebody in their 40s who had been in the industry for a while, but didn't exactly have any experience directing a bunch of actors and managing crew people and working around a script and scene changes. You're already off to a bad start by not hiring this guy.
Well, I can have some clarity on that. It could be the pitch in the interview that he gave. It could also be some of the crew members that he might have known and said, this is the team I can assemble, and somebody else who could have vouched for him and said, this is the guy who you should give a shot to. Sometimes, I mean, that's not always the case. Sometimes they listen to that.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they don't. But that could be what it comes down to. I mean, I can't say for certain, but it's a possibility.
Here's another interesting fact. The director did not want to shoot the death scenes. He was very uncomfortable shooting the death scenes, so he had to have his assistant director, Michael Spence, the assistant director, take over and shoot the scenes.
Now that pisses me off. Why would you direct a horror movie and even want to direct it? That's like when, like, I'm not going to name drop, but I was working with somebody who had Catholic beliefs and wanted to be involved in a project and then just said, oh, I don't want to, like was all gung-ho about doing the project and then just said, like, stood away and just said, I don't want anything to do with this.
I was
like, well, why are you on set? Why did you agree to this? You know exactly what you're dealing with. And honestly, the Catholics had some of, like, the most outrageous art. It's like, it's hypocritical when I hear them say this. So I'm like, get that out of my face.
Yeah, it's just another thing. And he signed on because the original title was Sleigh Ride. That right there is a better title than Silent Night, Deadly Night. Sleigh Ride. I think it's better.
I don't like SLAY or SEIAG.
No, SLAY.
Okay.
Sleigh Ride. It's clean, simple, not too wordy. I think it would have just made a better point. I mean, it's so obvious what Silent Night, Deadly Night's going to be about, but I just think Sleigh Ride's cleaner.
Yeah, but
I think it's a better title.
I don't know. I think Sleigh Ride kind of sounds like you're going to an amusement park.
But then when you see the title, Sleigh, SLAY.
Yeah, I get that. But at least when you see it, you get it. But when you hear Silent Night, Deadly Night, you know it's associated with Christmas. You know something horrific's going to happen. If you just hear Sleigh Ride, you know, you're kind of conflicted with it until you actually see the spelling of the wording. Plus, I think Silent Night, Deadly Night has more of a horror theme to it.
Okay, gotcha.
I mean, that's my opinion.
No, it's all good. That's all good. But yes, even that was the working title. Like, so the director signed on to make this movie knowing full ahead what this movie was going to be about. You can't make a slasher movie without a body count. So you had to have known that you were going to be filming death scenes. And you didn't want to do it.
I'd say right off the bat, you get the mom and dad. So it's like one of your first scenes you get to see is them getting killed.
It's a traumatic scene, too.
Oh my god, yeah.
Dude, what is it? 5 people in the toy store that Billy works for that he kills?
Oh, yeah. It's something like that.
Yeah. But one dude deserved it, though. He's a fucking prick.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. You got to have that dick character in an 80s movie.
Like, and then as you're going throughout the movie, there's a lot there, but some of them are unnecessary. But it was just funny as hell.
Oh, the Linnea Quigley and the boyfriend.
Oh, I call that gratuitous nudity because the nudity wasn't there for the reason it needed to be. Like, yeah, they were making out whatever, but they literally opened the fucking door
and your tits exposed.
Tits are out. Who answers the door topless like that? Like, is this a porno? No, it's not.
Hey, I wish more women would answer the door like that. I'd be a door-to-door salesman if that was the case.
Oh my gosh.
What do they call it? Dutch door action?
We're dubbing it that now. Hey, we're in Pennsylvania, Dutch country, so...
That's another thing I noticed. You mentioned about the murder spree happening in the toy shop. When I was watching the Blu-ray of this, now, there's pretty good crystal clear Blu-ray quality, but then when it goes to some certain scenes that were originally shot and then they tried to convert it to the Blu-ray, it looks like 1980s daytime television. You can tell what's Blu-ray and what clearly isn't. This needs a remaster.
Well, the problem was with that, they got rid of all the negatives. So whatever they had was already like on VHS and whatever. So they upconverted everything to 4K and they tried to fill in the gaps with whatever they had left to try to upconvert that.
Okay.
But the quality, as you could tell, was bad. It actually says at the front of the movie, too. It's like, by the way, I think Sony even apologizes for this. Yes, by the way, I do own this one.
Yes, you
and
do.
The second
and
one.
the second one.
Yo, if they did that with Friday the 13th Part 7, I'd be happy.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say that out loud because I just want to see that movie uncut.
I know. I think it'd be an amazing film.
It would.
It is an amazing film. I want to see more.
Me too. Billy is the kid, by the way. I know we've been saying his name. And he just goes on this murdering spree, and towards the end of the film, he goes back to the orphanage, and I don't think he's really making a point to kill the kids, but...
No, he's going after Mother Superior.
And the sad thing is, the cops are after him, and he winds up getting shot and killed by the cops then.
Well, here's the thing. Once the murder sprees start happening, they realize it is a Santa Claus doing it. One dad almost gets shot by entering his house. And then they shoot the deaf groundskeeper, or is it the priest?
It's a priest.
It's a priest in the first movie, and it's a groundskeeper in the second movie.
Yes.
So, yeah. I was like, so the guy gets shot because he's dressed as a Santa walking towards the orphanage.
Oh.
But
most cops in the 80s were stupid in these movies. I mean, why is this officer shooting first, asking questions never? That's pretty much what he did.
Holy shit, it's Santa Claus.
Gun him down. And also, when a kid is trying to approach the Santa Claus, no regard for his safety. He's just going to unload an entire clip on this guy.
Plus, why would you have a deaf guy be Santa? What do you want for Christmas? What? What? It's like, what?
And the fact that this cop wasn't hauled away by his squad, he's still out there investigating. You realize this guy's going to probably kill more innocent people.
Wait, doesn't he get killed anyway?
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, he eventually gets killed, but
you're all worried about he's
in
out
the
there.
most hilarious fashion, where he's peeking around corners, showing his gun, and then going down to the basement. Oh, everything's all good. Punish, and then the axe just goes right into his gut, and he dies.
So he keeps bringing up Punish, and Colin keeps bringing up Naughty. This is what Billy screams every time he literally screams when he's killing people, because it's the dude's trying to rape the girl in the back room at this toy store. He's like, Punish! And he's hanging the guy by
Christmas
lights, which is probably the funniest fucking thing.
That's great.
And then the girl's digging him and then calls him a creep, ends up stabbing her. Same thing. And I'm like, what the fuck?
And this all came about because his grandfather said, if you're naughty, Santa doesn't
he'll punish you.
Punish you.
But also the words of Mother Superior are now echoing through his actions because she said punish.
And punishment is
absolute.
Absolute, and punishment is good. It's it's a growing pain, basically.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There is a good story somewhere in this movie. It just wasn't properly told. That's just the way I see it.
And then it's sad because at the end when he dies tragically, and he says everyone's safe now.
Yeah.
The fact that these kids had to watch Santa Claus die twice in one day.
And then the Mother Superior just kind of smiles like
this evil prick.
Yeah, and it's kind of like, well, what the fuck? You didn't help the guy out.
No, she did not.
You fucking knew what the problem was with him as a kid. And the sad part is, when he's really young, when he first sees the tragedy, he's this sweet little innocent kid. He's just excited about Christmas. He's a good kid, you can tell. And even when he's in the orphanage, he's not bad. Nothing he does is ever bad.
No.
When he accidentally saw I shouldn't say accidentally. He knew something was up when he saw the two people having sex in the room.
The two orphans, yeah.
And then Mother Superior got him away. But she's constantly punishing him for stuff that's really not his fault. And she knows. And at that point, that's what really pisses me off, because it's no, you shouldn't be punishing the kid. You should be getting him help. Yeah, that's what Sister Margaret even says. And she ties him to the bed when he was sleepwalking or something. It's why are you doing this to him? And he's crying for help.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that'll teach him.
Don't hurt the kid. You gotta help him. And that's what pisses me off. That's where, when you say there is a good movie in this, you're right, there is. But it's just not executed very well.
No, it's not. It's not. I mean, the acting overall is okay. I guess the guy playing the older 18-year-old version of Billy, he's fine. And Mother Superior, she does a good job of being a scumbag. But, I mean, this is the thing. You could have made this character like a Nurse Ratched type from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest if the dialogue had more substance or attention to it. She could have easily been a character like that. Instead, she's kind of really one-dimensional.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Plus, there's really, poor Billy, there's no justice in anything. The criminal that killed his parents and almost raped his mom he's still out. So we have no idea if they did catch that guy. As far as we know, he's still out there.
Yeah.
So that's not justified. He's living with that burden the rest of his life. Mother Superior doesn't get any sort of comeuppance. Instead, she just basically smirks and is like, ha, he's dead. When she's the one who screwed him up even more.
Oh, no, she did, yes.
And it's like, so this poor kid's been traumatized his whole life, lost his parents, grew up in an orphanage, was treated like shit, and then even when he's an older adult, at, was he 18?
18.
Yeah.
According to IMDb, he's an 18-year-old Billy.
Yeah, well, I think in the second one they also say he's 18 when he gets a job and he had to leave the orphanage.
Mm-hmm.
And he's doing really good work, and that one scumbag in the toy store just treats him like shit and doesn't help him out either. And he's trying to keep his chin up the older he gets, and you can tell he's actually like a nice guy, but he's still affected by everything, which, hey, rightfully so. And it's like, dude, this poor fucking guy doesn't get a break.
No.
In anything in this movie.
If anything, you'd think that you would get him a job that didn't involve him
Christmas.
being around Christmas or a toy shop or anything like that. You're already setting up for disaster right now.
Wait, so you're saying that, a key plot point of him getting a job at a toy store is what sets him off on the killing spree. If we would have just eliminated, there'd be no movie?
I mean, a toy store, you'd think Santa Claus was going to show up at some point, and that's going to mess with his mind, especially when that banner gets unveiled. You see Santa Claus's face, and he looks like he's about to, like, scream. He looks like he's ready to jump off a cliff and just, like, take somebody with him. Like you said, he does seem like a nice guy, and then you can tell he really did not want to have that damn Santa Claus outfit put on his body, and he's doing a shitty job when it comes to having the kids sit in his lap. I mean, who would blame him? I don't bring toys to naughty children.
And the parents are like, oh, he's doing such a great job. He's got control over the kids so much. He's scaring the shit out of them.
Don't be naughty or I won't bring you presents.
That's right. Stop it, or I'll have to punish you. This guy says punish so many times, he might as well be the fucking Punisher.
Here's a candy cane.
Oh my gosh.
And then the boss is drunk in front of him. Oh yeah, God, great. Oh yeah. A boy should be thinking about his parents on Christmas Day. They're dead.
He says it in such a deadpan voice, dude, which is ridiculous.
Oh, I know. I mean, I would be too if I was witnessing that shit happen to me as a kid. I mean, my God, I don't think I would recover from that.
Plus, he's traumatized.
And it just took that dickbag trying to sexually assault his girlfriend that just sent him over the edge the one time when they have that Christmas party after everything goes well. Well. I did like that scene quite a bit because he uses quite a bit of instruments to kill people. He uses a bow and arrow. He uses a hammer, Christmas lights, and then a knife on the one chick who called him a creep.
Antlers.
That's later down the road. That's actually one of my favorite scenes. I don't even know why.
Also, the girl who got killed with a bow and arrow, she was in Halloween 4. She was one of the paramedics.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I thought that was kind of funny. Like, I recognized him. Like, you look familiar. Oh, yeah, you're in one of the better Halloween sequels. Yeah, okay.
The funny thing is about this movie, there is so much unnecessary killing. So, like, there's two assholes that steal sleds. What does he do? While they're going down the hill, he chops the one dude's fucking head.
Oh, I love that scene.
I lost it when I first saw that. I'm like, are you serious? Like, I was not expecting it.
The most 80s bullies you could ever imagine. We're going to go sledding. Punch.
Yeah.
The Balkan Skull.
Sled, yeah.
The Balkan Skull before they were Balkan Skull.
Fucking, as they're going down the hill, Billy steps out. Punish! Cuts the dude's fucking head right off. Like, oh, fuck me, right?
No, my favorite reaction was the kid's reaction watching his friend's headless body stroll down down the hill. Oh, God! Oh!
And then from there is when we get the gratuitous nudity, where it's the boyfriend and girlfriend making out in the basement, and she literally opens the door because she goes, oh, the cat's needs to be let out. She's screaming for the cat, tits all hanging out, shuts the door. Billy just happens to stroll in through a window.
He breaks down the door.
But the funniest thing is the whole thing, like, he's chasing her with the axe, so you expect her to get it with the axe. No. He picks her up and jams her on antlers on an elk head. And I was like, for some reason, because it's not even like fast, it's slow. He's slowly pushing her body on these antlers. And I'm like, out of the whole entire fucking movie, that's the one scene that stuck with me. I was like, as we were setting up to do this episode, I was like, oh, we were watching. I was watching.
I know why.
Why?
Because it's a rack on a rack.
Oh my god. That's actually pretty funny. Oh, as we were setting up to do this episode, I was watching Last Drive-In, their Christmas, I guess, marathon last year. They ended the episode with, Darcy.
Part two,
yeah,
was it? Yeah.
With Darcy being put on the antlers. And they're, like, throughout the whole thing, they're trying to figure out how to cover up her tits. And it's like, even the producer walks out with, like, these two little red, like, deer head, like, nipple covers. And,
Rudolph noses?
yeah. And Joe Bob's like, listen, Shudder's not going to let us do this. So, like, right at the end, Darcy comes out with a scarf, and she's like, all right, I think this got this covered. Yeah, they actually did it. So I sent them pictures, and it was just funny because I'm like, holy shit, they actually did it.
Oh, it was funny.
And like, what made it even funnier is like after the whole thing was done, wow, now I'm talking about the Last Drive-In. They start doing a Christmas song, and she's dancing on the antler.
Oh god.
But now back to the movie.
Also, before we forget, we got to mention that was Linnea Quigley
From Night of the Demons and
Return of the Living Dead.
Yeah.
In which she shows her tits in those as well.
Both movies?
Yeah.
3 movies?
Yeah. Remember, she was the girl in the pink dress, and then they...
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Wow. What a career.
What a career.
Yo, we saw her out at the horror sideshow market. Her tits are still perky.
And then he kills the boyfriend by just throwing him through a fucking window.
That's
from
lackluster.
Like, one of the coolest kills to, oh, by the way, there's a window.
The obnoxious shards of glass that are in his body.
And then,
like, no way.
And then the girl's sister comes downstairs. She sees Santa Claus, and she starts talking to him, and he pulls out a bloody razor knife.
An X-Acto knife.
Yeah, hands it to her. And like,
box cutter.
Yeah.
Whatever, yeah, either or.
He's like, here you go, Merry Christmas, motherfucker. It's covered in blood. And she's like, well, thank you.
She looks at it like, what?
Fucking Santa Claus. Dude, the fact that he doesn't even wear the beard where
yeah, I know.
It's down by his chin.
This is already a red flag, and the cops are like already starting to investigate. Even Sister Margaret goes to the toy shop. I'm going to go check on Billy. Oh my god, there are bodies everywhere.
Oh my god.
Why didn't we look into this kid sooner? I mean, Sister Margaret, like I said, she's the only one that had any sense in her head, realizing he really needed help. I wish she acted a little sooner, but, I mean...
Well, they gave the illusion that she was trying.
She was trying.
But Sister, Mother Superior didn't let her. Yeah. Like, when she says, Billy, just go outside, I'll take, the chewing out for it. And then she even steps up to Mother Superior and says, he's the reason why I'm outside. But she's more concerned about him watching the other two orphans having sex in the room. And all because he saw it, he gets punished for it.
Yeah, she just enacts this Old Testament real wrath of God type tutelage shit on all these kids. I mean, good God.
Fucking ridiculous. Yeah. I mean, I'm sorry. Maybe it's just a little biased in me because I just, like, kid stuff with me is just all, I just can't stand it. And I from like a psychology point of view, it just really bugged me. It really did, because like I said, he gets no justice from the criminal. He's a good kid. There was really no reason for any of that. If anything, it should have been, like when he was out of the bed at night, Mother Superior should have taken him off to the side and said, all right, let's just talk. Why are you out of bed? Is something wrong? Because she knows about what's affecting him. And instead, no, you're going to tie your ass to the bed, and that's it. Mm-hmm. Cry all you want.
Yeah.
Just stay here. It's like, that's fucked up.
It's really fucked up. Oh,
there was no reason for that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's almost like, so you're basically creating a monster, yet you're supposed to be a woman of God. Get the fuck out of here with that.
A person of higher religious upbringing and forgiveness and healing.
Yeah. And she's not healing him.
No.
Instead, she's turning him into a monster. Yeah. And then that's what happens to the brother.
The brother who witnessed everything that happened.
And that's where we come up with...
Well, let's finish this up. So, before we start touching on 2, because 2 is a ridiculous movie all by itself.
There's more to talk about for 1, believe me.
There is, but honestly, like, I feel like at this point, we should start talking about both of them, because they showed so much of movie 1 in movie 2. That's why I was saying, like, it's half of a movie.
It's about 45 minutes of footage from the first movie.
And, like, so at the end of the movie, after Billy gets shot, and in front of the kids, there's one kid...
You forgot. in slow motion. It had to be done in slow motion because we all know the best way to capture dramatic moments in the 80s was slow motion. Really bad slow motion, too.
He gets shot in front of all the kids, and the one kid stands up, looks at Mother Superior. Doesn't he scream punish or naughty or fucking something stupid?
Yeah, it's one of them. I forget which one it was.
All right, so they did set it up for a sequel at that point, but I was I think 86 or 87 when the second movie came out.
87.
So when they got the idea to do a part 2, they're like, "Fuck it, we don't have enough money." They're like, dude walks into the editing room, goes, "Make a movie out of this," and throws the first movie at him, and then has to write on top of what happened.
If that movie cost more than $1,000, I'd be shocked. I really would be.
So it's set up as Billy's brother. Wow, I just drew a blank. Is it Ricky?
Ricky.
In a mental institution, explaining the whole entire fucking first movie, leading up to where it started affecting him and turning him into an asshole.
But before we get that, I want to get into, like we said, this movie had a limited box office run. And during those 2 weeks in its limited box office run, this trailer aired during a Super Bowl commercial. And guess what? The controversy struck because we had an organization called Mothers Against Movie Madness that called the studio to condemn the movie and get it taken out of the theater. I really can't stand some of this cancel culture shit that's happening, even like in the 80s, and even like some of it's going on right now that I'm not a thing. First of all, a couple things. Why was there no outcry over the exploitation horror movie called Christmas Evil that took place in 1980? A movie that came out 4 years before this movie. In fact, the posters are very similar. It says, "You survived Halloween and Friday the 13th, now Christmas Evil." And it's a picture of a guy who is Santa Claus holding an axe about to go down a chimney. So people could even say Silent Night, Deadly Night ripped off that movie. The movie came out a few months after Friday the 13th. And they put it on the marketing poster. There was no outcry over that movie. There was no controversy. And the plots are similar, except the fact that Santa Claus was murdering people in that movie because they lost the Christmas spirit.
That's a reason to do it.
That was the reason. And it was actually, it got like some positive reviews now, and people, celebrate it for being an exploitation horror movie. Nowadays, the reviews are probably different then, but they're different now.
Oh, yeah.
But that's one thing. And also, 1972's Tales from the Crypt, I understand. Because that was a British horror anthology movie that took place in the 70s, and maybe not a lot of American audiences had seen that movie. The first segment is about a guy who broke out of a mental institution dressed up like Santa Claus. He looks like Santa Claus, has an actual beard, and he goes and breaks into a parent's house and kills the mother, who just murdered her husband. You can actually watch it for free on YouTube. Yes, America Americanized Tales from the Crypt because it was originally played. The Crypt Keeper was played by Sir Ralph Richardson, and even Peter Cushing had a part in one of the segments too.
Wild.
It's a good movie, and there was no outcry from anybody in England over that movie.
Well, England's different than America when it comes to
absolutely they're different
and art in general. I mean, fuck, look at the Harry Potter kids. I mean, they take acting seriously over there. That's why they're so good.
I mean, good Jesus Christ. And there's another thing. The parents are going to, cry to the heavens. Where were the parents at the beginning? And have a conversation with your kids saying, what you're watching in that commercial is not Santa Claus. What you're watching is an imposter. It's not really Santa Claus. Because a skinny 18-year-old kid trying to act like Santa Claus, he's, like I say, he's not fat, he's not jolly, he doesn't have all the cliche Santa Claus shit.
Dude, Billy was fucking jacked.
Yeah. It's like a bodybuilder.
Skinny jacked kid. Okay, there we go. Did they not see it was rated R? And did they not sit their kids down to explain it's only a movie? No, because fuck freedom of speech and creativity. If it's America. A problem, turn it off.
First Amendment.
Just turn the shit off. Turn it off. That's all it takes. And the critics, oh my God. The critics, boy, did they jump on the bandwagon. Here we go again, Gene Siskel. I'm going to talk about you again.
Oh, fuck me.
Because here's a direct quote from Gene Siskel.
Let's hear it, Gene.
He decided to call out the studio saying, You people have nothing to be proud of, even if you made a few bucks off of all the negative publicity. Your profits truly are blood money. Do you know what blood money is, Gene Siskel? Because apparently real people were killed during this movie. What you saw on screen wasn't fake or doctored in any way. And just for my peace of mind, here's a few definitions of blood money. Money paid to a hired killer. Money paid in compensation to a family or someone who died. Money paid by the police for information. That's blood money. What you just said was stupid.
Yeah, here we go again. Friday the 13th bullshit.
Seriously, I could not get over the fact that they had, yes, it's your platform, you can say whatever you want, but what you're saying doesn't make any sense to me. You're not being a critic. You're just jumping on the bandwagon like everybody else about this whole controversial bullshit that wasn't really controversial, at least to me. I don't think it would be.
Yeah, but that's also what? 35 years ago? 34? 36?
30 some years ago. Like, you're not being a movie critic. You're acting like a politician blabbering about controversy and not being a filmmaking critic.
Well, that's what a lot of critics really are, especially now.
But essentially, we're critics because we're sitting around here talking about
shit.
But
we don't get into the politics of that.
We're not giving a star rating. I mean, we're not. I mean, I don't know. Just, everybody's a critic. That's the point. Everybody's a critic.
I mean, we all don't agree on everything.
No,
though.
dude. Yeah.
We have three very different opinions. Not all the time.
I think our biggest one that you could see three different opinions would have been our Blair Witch one. There was a lot of tension and a lot of.
The difference between our podcast and what they did in the 80s is that they had their own show and they were professional critics. They were making money.
Wait, hold on. Just because they wore, was it fucking button-downs and fucking cardigans makes them professional? They're just assholes in a chair watching movies for free.
Older assholes in a chair.
Hey, remember what Eddie Izzard said?
Which one? You got a flag or?
It's 70% how you look, 10% how you sound, and 10% how you present yourself.
I mean, like, fine, you don't want to see a Killer Santa Claus movie about someone who isn't Santa Claus. No one's forcing you to watch it. You didn't even have to review it. They could have just skipped this one.
So he went out of his fucking way.
Yeah.
I'm betting he probably didn't even watch it.
All right, here. This is Gene Siskel and, was it Ebert?
Yeah, Roger.
All right. When Batman Mask of the Phantasm was released, they didn't even bother with it. And then, a year later, after Batman Forever came out, then they went back and rewatched it, and they were like, oh yeah, we made a mistake. We should have reviewed this movie when it came out. So, I mean, it's shit like that why when professional critics, I mean, I don't mind listening to what they have to say because it's like, okay, you got to filter out their bullshit, pretty much. Because sometimes they are right about things that are bad with it, and sometimes there are things that are good with the movie that yet they don't understand. I mean, that's where having a sense of being a filmmaker or being within that atmosphere helps you understand the movie. Even studying psychology, believe it or not, really helps because there are some times where things like lighting plays an effect. Mm-hmm. Breaking Bad was really good with that. Like if you saw a green light, you knew something uneasy was going to happen or something red popped up
to capture mood.
Yeah, exactly. And sometimes they don't see that. They might get a little bit of an idea with it, but for the most part. They don't, because they just watch the movie, kind of have a breakdown analysis and say what they want.
Yeah, I mean, we're having a breakdown analysis about this movie. We're saying there are good things, there are bad things. But this entire review that they did, it was just a giant hate speech. That's all it was. They didn't want to point out any shred of positive for this movie. They just went on the hate train and said it should have never been made.
See, and that's just wrong, because it almost sounds like they just hate the genre, a slasher genre.
Mm-hmm. Yes, a lot of reviewers hate horror in general, so it's hard to get a real review if they're already hating on it. That was the major problem with reviewers in the 80s, because it's also a problem with the companies that kept pumping them out. When you're getting a new one every year, you know it's going to be trash, but I still fucking watch it. But
me too.
Yeah, same here. I mean, yes, there was a problem saying, okay, audiences have seen this before. We've seen this type of body count before, and it's just a couple recycled ideas over and over again, and we're just waiting to see something new, which I think we got with Nightmare on Elm Street in '84.
And I'll say this. I would rather watch the shitty slasher movies back in the 80s than I would now, because it was practical effects and done more on set. Now you just get a bunch of CGI, and it's just, oh, it's CGI. So that's why if they would just crank them out like that, the fun's pretty much gone. So, like, I haven't seen all the Saw movies because they pretty much just turned me off after
There's
the
no need to
second
see
one.
every Saw movie.
And that's pretty much how I feel about like most of the other movies that they crank out now.
Yeah.
I mean, they try to go for that realism too much nowadays. Like, it's always got to be a serial killer, and I've seen the serial killers with guns, and I'm like, I don't know, a serial killer with guns to me just isn't fun.
Yeah.
It just seems too easy for him to do that.
So, I mean, yeah, this movie would not get as much controversy if it was made today. That's for a fact. But
actually, it would be more accepted today.
Probably would be, because, like I said, there's a ton of spins on different Christmas genres.
Well, and the horror community is more accepting. You have, like, it's not Generation. Well, I think we're Generation Y. But you know what I'm saying? Like, the kids that were teens in the 80s that saw that and are growing up with it. And now you have us, like, that 30 to 40 range. And now, like, kids from us are watching it along with us. And we're just growing up saying, like, oh, this is fake and blah, 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 blah. And now you got all the conventions and stuff. Like shit, dude. I met a family that came all the way from Canada to go to Jersey to see the Kane Hodder and CJ Graham, and they had their little kids, and they were like, "Yo, we just want to get our pictures taken with them," while they were all in costume. Yeah.
Oh, dude, absolutely.
And I'm like,
great.
that just shows the power of how much the horror community has changed. So
Indeed.
I think it would be so accepting now compared to what it was in the 80s, where it was fresh, it was new. People didn't understand it. Maybe they did hate it because it was stupid, but I always was like, yo, that looks like it's fun.
Yeah.
So I know Charles Sellier, he ended up dying in 2011, but before he died, he had an interview where he said he absolutely hates the movie. He wishes he never made it, probably because of all the hate it got in the 80s from the critics and everybody. And okay, fine. At the same time, you weren't the right choice to direct this movie to begin with, and I just don't understand why you agreed to do this project when you knew it was a slasher and you weren't comfortable shooting death scenes. So that just didn't make sense to me. Now this movie does have more fans. Like I said, Quentin Tarantino loves the film. He owns his own original print of the movie.
That doesn't surprise me.
No, not at all.
He probably watches it too. Just
absolutely. But yeah, this is a movie that I think should be remade.
Yeah, no, you're right.
I mean, we did get that reboot/remake that you talked about, Jeff, before, but I think this is a movie that definitely deserves to be remade in the hands of a more competent director, a studio that's on the same page as the director, and has a better script.
Yeah, no, I agree. Even when I watched it, I said, kind of like what you said, there's something there, but maybe it was the director who just, it did feel like he just checked out, like, okay, put the murder scene in, and we'll just do this.
Yeah.
That's pretty much that.
Like,
the music wasn't all that lackluster. I mean, it was lackluster, but
there's nothing that stood out.
Like,
how they could have literally just played every single fucking Christmas song over top the whole movie and probably would have been fun.
Yeah. Oh man, part 2.
We've come to this moment. So, part 2, like we said, it was like 40% of the first movie, and oh my god,
I think that's being generous.
Yeah, I mean, hell, there's one point where Ricky and his girlfriend go to the theater, and she explains the horror movie they see is about a Santa Claus that goes on a killing rampage.
Dude, that is my favorite fucking scene, too.
That is great.
That's your favorite scene?
Yeah, because... hold on. Because she's like... He goes, what's this movie about? She goes, oh, it's about a killing Santa Claus. His reaction is what made me laugh the most, because he goes, what?
I know.
And on the on-screen is
the
literally...
first movie.
It's a convenience store robbery. I'm holding you up, asshole.
Even I said, are you serious?
You can't make this shit up. And also, that's not a movie theater they're in. That's an auditorium.
Oh my god, dude. It was so obvious.
It looked like one of our college buildings with the lights dimmed down.
Oh my god.
The dickhead in the back who's just like talking and commentating during the whole movie, being an asshole, and Billy chokes him out at one point.
I mean, Ricky?
Ricky. Might as well be Billy.
I know.
Oh my god, this movie, yeah.
Like all the Ricky scenes.
See, I'm getting you.
Yeah, you did it again. But all the Ricky scenes are basically flashbacks yet, because like Jeff said, it's him in a mental institution. Nothing currently except that, and the very end is at the moment of the movie. It's just all this backstory bullshit.
Also, he's smoking, and he's been given a lighter in this mental institution.
Oh, that's right.
Do we normally give patients lighters? I don't think that's a good idea to give a weapon of some kind that could be used as a weapon to a potentially dangerous patient.
I'm just saying now, the giant recorder that the therapist had while Ricky is explaining the whole first movie to him, while he's smoking that fucking cigarette, I'm like, you know something stupid's going to happen with that recorder, because it seems comically larger than it needs to be.
You can even tell they're trying to drag this movie out to 90 minutes. Even the opening credits scene is to a crawl. They are slowing this shit down because they don't have enough footage to make a 90-minute movie. They have to slow things all the way down. These ugly panning shots going from somebody's leg all the way up to their head.
Well, even the way they talk is so slow and monotone. Like when Ricky's approaching somebody, it's always, "That's enough."
We should also mention that the character Ricky is being played by actor Eric Freeman, who is a very good sport about this whole thing, because he actually did his own audio commentary in the Shout Factory copy of the sequel. So even he knew that this movie was not good, but he knew he was kind of getting into it. He's actually an experienced actor, and he actually had a decent career after this movie. He appeared in a couple television shows as like small parts here and there, but he kept consistent work. So good for him for at least having a career after this movie.
And he snarls 137 times throughout the movie.
But I think he eyebrow twitches 260 times.
Dude,
in this
that is
movie.
ridiculous. The amount that someone actually sat there and counted all that.
He needs to get into an eyebrow raising contest with The Rock. I mean, seriously, you can't help but notice his eyebrows going up and down every time he's delivering a monologue or a speech or anything. You're a good doc.
I feel like the director was just like, fuck it, man. Whatever you feel like today, just go with it. I want you to go crazier. Crazier. That's not crazy enough. Crazier.
You do you, man. Oh, he also did a YouTube segment where he actually portrayed the character Ricky much older. And it's a YouTube video of him in the interrogation room talking about his moments that happened in the past, but he's older Ricky and Eric Freeman just being Eric Freeman. And then I think the guy recording it pissed him off and he got off camera and started to choke him in a simulation. It's really funny.
Have to watch this.
It's really funny. You just have to type in Eric Freeman interview and I'm sure it'll pop up on YouTube.
The funny thing is you brought up Friday the 13th Part 7, the girlfriend is actually one of the victims in that movie.
No shit.
Yep,
I think she's the redhead, and this one she's blonde.
Yep.
They had too many blondes in Part 7.
Yeah.
No, she's a redhead in Part 7.
She's a red. That's why she was originally blonde, and they had to make her a redhead because there were already too many blondes in Part 7.
Yeah, that's true too.
So that's
that
what
bitch
that
still
is.
deserved that axe in the face.
Yeah, Melissa's a bitch.
But yeah, the entire first 45 minutes is all set up that we've already seen from the first movie, and he's talking about events that he never witnessed.
I believe the way they speculated or said it was Billy told him about the stuff that he was too young to remember. And I'm like, dude, he was what, 8 and you were 1? Well, when he got older, he's like, hey, by the way, Mom and Dad were fucking murdered by Santa Claus. Fuck Santa Claus.
Was he sending him letters to the orphanage when he chopped up that kid's head in a sled or something?
Maybe he read the police reports. Who fucking
Maybe
knows?
he did. Yeah, probably. Oh, jeez.
And then you find out what happened to Ricky after Billy tormented him, traumatized him by getting shot by the cops, and you come to find out that he killed a lot of people over time, but one girl was gonna get raped, so he saves her and lets her go. Then he became fucking goon almost.
Well, he ran over the guy with his own Jeep.
Yeah, that was
back and forth. in a very hilarious way. In fact, he saw the girl look at him, but his peripheral vision said something different.
Wait,
he didn't.
Didn't she even say thank you for killing her?
She said thank you.
Yes.
She said thank you.
That's what I was like, wait, what?
Okay, yes, he was doing something he shouldn't have been doing, but I doubt you would have said thank you.
Hell, his fucking girlfriend, who was, when he, like, killed her ex, she's like, I hate you, Ricky.
Oh, we gotta get to
We will then.
Yeah.
I'm just
Oh,
saying
my gosh.
for the sake of this moment. But
And then
we're saving that for last.
Wasn't he like was it not even not like a loan shark? Pretty much was collecting money, and the dude was being a dick, so he stabs him with an umbrella, and then opens the fucking umbrella.
Oh my god.
Pops up.
Something stupid along those lines, like
that is the best death in this entire movie. The umbrella death. That is some Jason Voorhees type strength for you to push a blunt object like an umbrella through a guy and then open it up on the other side.
Well, they do. I gotta say, at least they do make the actors that are the killers in the movies. They do make them look like they are athletic.
Dude, he was another dude that was fucking.
I know.
He's pretty strong too.
I mean, because even he had a solid build, and I think there was that one scene where he looks like he's having sex with his girlfriend, and they're just laying in bed, and he had these like fucking rock hard abs. I was like, damn, man, they do make these guys look like they can kick your ass at least.
Kick your ass, but not maybe put a full umbrella through somebody's body.
Dude, it's the 80s.
It's the 80s. No, I'm glad it's there though, because that is one of the best fucking deaths I've ever seen.
The fact that he fucking opens it, there's blood splatter on the wall all over the fucking umbrella.
Tattered,
yeah, I'm like, oh fucking me.
I love the guy's reaction. You just have to see it because his eyebrow and his eye movement is so, we can't show you. You have to see it yourself.
So I like before he's talking about that story, he goes, after I got out of the orphanage, I got a job.
My mother could afford to send me to college, so I got a job.
Doing dishes and some shit like that. Again, the slow paced talking.
Oh my gosh. And like as the therapist is talking to him, he's explaining all this shit. So it's like a flashback for this, like the whole him killing the dude with the Jeep, and then he asks him about the girlfriend. That leads us up to the sex scene, how they met, the whole fucking scene in the theater, which like I said is probably my favorite part of the entire fucking movie, because the fact that they're literally showing the first movie while they're watching it, his reaction is going, "What? What?" I died. I'm sitting there watching it at 5:30 in the morning. I got to that scene, I'm dying. I'm fucking laughing my ass off because I'm like, it was not expecting this. I've seen this movie probably like twice now.
I've seen it more.
I remember hearing about this movie at least 10 years ago, if not more.
We were in college. That's the first time I heard about this movie, when we were in college together.
And I pretty much just watched the scenes on YouTube, and then after watching the whole thing, when Jeff let me borrow his copy of it, I was like...
Wait, why are you going to throw me under the bus like this?
Because you admitted you own it. and I knew about the cuts from the first movie were in it, and was pretty much the majority of that, but I didn't realize I pretty much saw the whole
you did.
second one on YouTube. I was like, really?
Oh.
I love how even in the interrogation room, he pulls a Houdini, and the therapist actually loses sight of him, and he peers right next to his head. Going too fast for you, Doc? They had to do something edgy to change it up, rather than just being... a one shot back and forth, reverse shot. But you gotta love when the douchebag ex-boyfriend shows up the following day, when Ricky and his girlfriend just decide to go for a casual walk.
Well, it started in the movie theater. He was being a creep.
It did start in the movie
while
theater.
He was hitting on her while Ricky's murdering the dude in the back for heckling the movie.
Good for him, because that guy was a dick. I'm glad he murdered him.
It was like Jay and Silent Bob before Jay and Silent Bob. His friend wasn't saying a goddamn word, and he's sitting there running his mouth.
And he's gone in the one shot.
Yeah. Ricky murders this kid, and then the creep gets behind the girl, like peers over the seat like a fucking weirdo.
It's like a peekaboo thing with her eyes. Oh god.
He's talking to her, and all of a sudden you look over, like his girl, Ricky's girlfriend looks over at another girl that's with the creep, and she's like, "What the fuck?" So then after getting introduced to this fucking douchebag, they're strolling down the street like in this really nice neighborhood. And the creep shows up, fixing his car.
Acting like he's fixing his car.
Oh no, my car stopped. Just happened to be on this street. Oh my god. He got what he fucking deserved in that one.
He attached a car battery to his teeth.
Well, first he pushes the girl on the ground, and then he goes, "Falling for me again, huh?"
Oh my god. And then fucking Ricky just like starts choking him, grabs, was he charging the battery on his Mustang or whatever?
Yeah,
Fucking jams it into his mouth and he just starts electrocuting. Girlfriend freaks out.
His eyes explode.
Yeah. Girlfriend's freaking out after exploding eyes. What does Ricky do? Instead of going, hey, it's okay, he fucking rips the antenna off the Mustang and chokes her with it.
But then we get Mother Superior coming back, speaking through Ricky when she was actually speaking through Billy.
Yeah.
It's more of that. We have to reuse that footage, and what's the best way we can do? Let's bring Mother Superior back into this. Punish!
So from this moment on, Ricky loses his goddamn mind. That's the best way to explain it. Cops show up, he fucking kills them, he takes their gun. He starts killing random people. There's a dude that walks out of his house, and he blasts him for no fucking reason. And then he shoots the car, and then dude emptying his trash.
That poor guy who just wanted to take out his garbage.
The most iconic scene of Silent Night, Deadly Night 2.
It's simply called The Scene.
And if there's one thing that we recommend everybody watch, it's this scene.
The Garbage Day scene. Garbage Day! I counted 5 quick cuts when that guy got shot. It's atrocious, but it's hilarious. 5 shots of this guy dying after getting hit with the revolver. And then you gotta love movie logic when he shoots the car and it tips over, and when it gets back on its 4 wheels, it just spontaneously combusts into a ball of flames. That could only happen in an 80s movie.
Did you notice, though, the stunt actor that was playing Ricky at the time when he shoots the car and it starts flipping? Yo, it misses him by an inch. I was like, dude, he just like turns just enough as it's like, dude, you would have died.
That was a good stunt.
Yeah.
That's probably the only good thing.
I don't think that was planned.
Oh my god. I first, like I was saying with Kyle, this is the scene that I got introduced to this movie. I didn't see it until 10 years later, but I just remember the fucking Garbage Day scene.
This is the scene that pretty much makes Silent Night, Deadly Night 2 what it is.
Yeah, because that, honestly, the only reason I found out about Part 2 was because of these two assholes. And John quoting that movie in a short that you two did.
Yeah, we did a couple of parody spinoffs and for some college projects. We didn't have any audio during it, so we were having some technical difficulties, but I mouthed the word Garbage Day, and people instantly knew what I was saying.
No, there was the one shopping killing spree.
That's what I'm talking about.
No, you say it.
Yeah.
No, but like when we showed up to class, there was an issue with the audio, and we were trying to get the audio back as the video was rolling, and I mouthed the words Garbage Day, and people knew what the fuck I just said.
Oh well, I was just in that project. It wasn't mine, and I didn't.
No, this was not our project. This was another friend of ours.
I wasn't there for it, but I believe it.
Yeah. But, like, everybody knew when I had said Garbage Day, because they couldn't hear it, but they could read the lips, and they just lost it.
Yeah.
And then you laugh. You're like,
Dude, we didn't take that project seriously. I mean, how could you? Especially with the director of that project. We won't get into him, but...
Dude, that was our Silent Night, Deadly Night, too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god, I admit to that.
Ha Oh my gosh. But the way he gets caught at the end of killing all these fucking people, cops show up, they're all pointing his guns, and he literally is going to blow his brains out and forgets that he runs out of bullets.
With
No
a
more
6-shooter.
Yeah.
After he just blew away.
How many fucking people?
Yeah, he really did realize that.
Now, I actually counted all the shots, and I at least got that right. Because
yeah,
I was expecting like 7 or 8 without the extra ammunition loaded into the gun for obvious information. But
I don't think you can with a revolver.
What?
I don't think you can have one in the chamber.
No, you can't.
It's already...
Yeah, so,
it's already in the chamber.
Yeah,
but I'm saying, I was waiting for there to be 7 or 8 shots, and we don't get a footage or shot of him reloading the gun, putting the extra 2 bullets in there.
But where would he have gotten it? He literally just took the gun off the cop.
But that's how these bad directors work. They don't care about logical information.
And so this is where the whole therapist and his scene and the movie kind of connect finally on how the fuck he ended up there.
You forget that he strangles the therapist with the
comically large fucking recording device in the middle of the room.
This is why they don't make cassette tapes anymore, because they're deadly.
Cassette tapes? Fuck, it was a film reel.
I want to know when he killed him. That's one thing that I was kind of curious about. When did he actually kill this guy?
Probably when it's like, oh, this is where the movie finally ties in with what I'm saying. Well, I gotta kill you now. Plot device.
Were there just 2 people working at this mental institution? Because I know there was the custodian, so he had to have gotten by him, and then that was it. He just walked out of the building and he killed some guy and stole a Santa Claus outfit and called his Mother Superior from a payphone.
Yeah, listen, the fact that Mother Superior actually appeared in this movie was funnier because obviously it's not the same fucking woman. She has like boils on her face and they're like, oh, she had a heart attack. I'm like, how the fuck did she get her face fucked up then?
What happened to your face?
I was like, what is going on here? Did the stroke happen while she was cooking and it like fell on the stove or something? I was like, what the fuck is going on?
But
scalding hot water.
But the fact that he kills this dude for Santa outfit and then goes to kill Mother Superior, the address at which she lives is probably the second most funniest thing about this movie because it's 666.
And it's a nun's house.
Yeah.
Are you saying that Mother Superior is the devil, or
yes.
She lives on the neighborhood of the devil?
Looking at her face and the way she acted, fuck right, she was the devil.
You forget that we also get a Shining ripoff. You get him looking through the door. You also get the moment of him like punching or chopping through the door with his eye through the hole. He's like, oh, there you are.
Oh my gosh.
So bad.
You gotta love the interaction between these two when she's just holding that knife saying she raised him from a child. Yeah. You must take your punishment.
I am your Mother Superior. Yeah, this is trying to go up the stairs
down
with her
the
fucking wheelchair. Oh, down the stairs.
Because she's on the top floor in a wheelchair, and Ricky's chasing her. Somehow she eludes him, and she's like diving down the fucking stairs into another wheelchair.
He brings the double-bladed axe into the chair, and he gets really mad. No, I'm really mad now. I could quote this movie all day. It's so bad.
Oh, Mother Superior!
I've got a present for you!
Dude, the one-liners are ridiculous. I mean, like, that whole scene, like you said, you've already quoted most of that fucking sequence.
Yeah, pretty much.
Naughty this!
You don't see the axe come down, then the cops are showing up.
With Sister Margaret.
Yeah, why the fuck did they bring Sister Margaret? Why though?
It was the same actress too.
Fuck it, man.
That was the only person that was original from the.
Wait, are you serious? It was the same actress?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Fuck it, man. I'm not doing anything right now. You want to play the nun again?
I remember looking at it going, well, that looks like the same actress from the original movie, so the hell?
Definitely wasn't the same Mother Superior.
Hell no.
Yo, but the fact that she's sitting there when they roll up, she's sitting at the table, no reaction whatsoever. They walk over, Sister Margaret goes to like touch her. The head just pops right the fuck off, and she faints, and then wakes up with the head next to her, starts screaming. I'm like, oh, fuck me, man. What? Who the fuck thought this was a good idea? Hey, by the way, come on, sister, we got an adventure to go on. Your crazy asshole orphan is killing people again.
And of course, the cops have to shoot Ricky multiple times, and he goes through the door, and he's not dead.
Yeah,
he's not wearing body armor or any sort of protective device. He just takes a couple rounds to the chest, and he's fine.
Apparently, being that crazy makes you invulnerable to...
Was he on cocaine before this killing spree happened with Mother Superior? I don't know.
It was the 80s.
Yeah.
There was a big snowstorm.
Oh my gosh. But the fact that there were 3 more sequels after this one?
3 more.
3 more movies.
Yeah.
And nothing had to do with either Billy or Ricky.
Well, here's a bit of irony here. One of the actors that condemned the original movie was Mickey Rooney. He spoke out against the movie, very much so, hated it, and his career was in such financial trouble that he agreed to star in the fifth movie, Silent Night, Deadly Night, The Toy Maker. Now, one could argue and say that he was portraying a killer Santa Claus. He didn't know what the movie was going to be called, and they decided to retitle it The Toy Maker, Part 5, because they realized what we've got could easily be another sequel to Silent Night, Deadly Night. Now, one could say that, but I don't really give a shit because that's being a hypocrite.
Oh my gosh. And honestly, the first time I got introduced to this series was actually the remake, which was full of gratuitous nudity for no reason at all. And I was like, well, I felt, because even as I'm watching, because the remake's just called Silent Night. And I'm like, looking at some shots, I'm sitting here going, why does this seem like this is familiar? Lo and behold, they did use some shit from the original, like, kind of just slowly put it in there. And I was like, oh, you gotta be fucking kidding me. So it's like, you getting, like, I think a naked chick jammed in a wood chipper and shit like that. Like, it was, I think the first killing he does is hang a guy with fucking Christmas lights. Alright?
I would not be surprised if those other sequels reused footage from the other movies. Just become a running gag.
Well, it wasn't reused. It was like literally just reshot with new characters.
Oh, okay. I'm talking like part 3 and 4, 5,
no,
whatever.
Fuck it.
Maybe
hey,
they
Ricky's
reused
over here.
footage.
Fucking.
Eric Freeman's the grandfather.
Oh my god. That'd be perfect.
I mean, as a whole, I would suggest to watch this movie to most people because I mean, not the second one. As a pair, I'd say watch them. Because you're already watching 2/3 of the fucking second movie while watching the first movie. And only because, like, when I first watched it, I was like, holy fuck, what the fuck am I watching? I gotta tell the world about this fucking movie. Which I did. And it's like, and then I watched it a second time, and I'm like, yo, that's when I discovered that there's actually a storyline here. So I'm like, went from being just a slasher film to actually having a decent storyline hidden throughout the stupidity of slasher films. So it's like there is more to it than just a killing Santa Claus. And it's surprising the fact that it did get fucking 4 sequels and a remake, because you don't think anything of it, but it's the 80s. Like the last sequel came out in, I think, 1990 or 89 or 90, something stupid like that.
Wow, they really pumped them out like one every year then.
And it was just crazy because, like I said, it's the fact that it is a slasher film based on a Santa Claus, quote, air quotes. But yeah, like I thought it was just a fun movie to watch. Like the first time I watched it was with my dad and my wife Lexi, and they both looked at me like I was fucking nuts. All right.
Wait, your dad thought you were nuts?
Yeah, he's like, "What the fuck are we watching?" I'm like,
"Well, isn't that the pot calling the kettle black?"
I don't know. This man has watched more crazy shit than me, and he was like, I saw him looking at his phone more than watching this movie. And I'm just like, well, what the fuck's going to happen next?
Yo, he dragged me into watching some of the bad shit that he's seen. And Silent Night, Deadly Night has nothing compared to what he's seen. Whoa.
I know, right? That was some
I'm actually taken back by hearing that.
I know, so am I. Like, when I'm experiencing this, I'm just like, holy shit. I found a movie that my dad won't even watch. That's 1 point for me. But obviously, Lexi, on the other hand, will literally be like, what the fuck are you watching?
I'm going to murder you and go on my own murder killing spree.
Because I will watch anything. It just so happens that...
Those are 2 gems. And those 2 movies, I'll probably add them to my holiday go-to list every year, right next to Christmas Vacation, Home Alone, and now Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 1 and 2.
And as we were talking earlier, there has been a string of newer, like, Christmas horror movies. Like, I think there's one called All Through the House.
Yes.
That one's actually really good. I brought up Santa's Slay because I had to. Killer Santa Claus. Bill Goldberg. Another one was it American Christmas Horror Story or something like that? Something along those lines. It's actually an anthology series based on Christmas. And it's pretty much almost like bookended with a story about a killer Santa Claus. But you come to find out as the newscast throughout the series, there's something crazy going on. I think actually it's Will Shatner is the fucking newscaster.
Oh my god.
I'm thinking about this like as it's going. And then like there's a Santa Claus going through dealing with zombie elves and stuff, and you come to find out towards the end of the movie that they weren't elves or zombies. He was killing people at a mall. I was just like, holy fuck!
Oh shit.
So it's like the newscast and this one are going hand in hand. And then like the other stories they kind of interjected. They brought up Krampus. They brought up a whole bunch of different cool stuff. But that was the one that caught my interest. I'm like, wait, this whole time I thought it was zombies?
Yeah, killer Santa Clauses are everywhere. I mean, even, what's it called? American Horror Story Season 2, Ian McShane played a killer Santa Claus during one moment of that entire season. Are you going to outcry about that shit, guys? I mean, come on. It's like I said, the controversy is everywhere for this movie. It's ridiculous. It's like I said, like the 2019 Joker film. It wasn't as controversial as it should have been. People made it out to be a big deal, and it really just wasn't. It's just because it portrayed violence in a realistic way, and this movie didn't deserve all the fucking outcry that it got, and I
think the second one did. It fucking needed some hate.
It just blows my mind how people will, maybe
bitch about everything,
not talk to their kids and actually be a parent and do something about it, or just turn it off. No one's forcing you to watch anything. You don't have to watch it. You don't have to review it. You don't have to do anything. Just turn it off.
You said it best. It's like, I don't understand why parents can't just talk to their kids about it. Because, I just remember watching some of this stuff similar to this with fuck, dude, the family show that my brother, sister, my mom, and dad, we all gathered together to watch growing up was Married with Children.
Yo.
Oh, man.
I kid you not. We all were glued to the screen. It was like the one thing in our fucking family, as dysfunctional as it is, we all watched Married with Children.
Well, Married with Children is a dysfunctional family.
Yeah, maybe that's why we watched it. Like, hearing all the controversy and growing up and seeing it, it is like, like the sex stuff, though, that went way over my head. I was super young when we watched that shit, but there was still stuff in that show that I still laughed at. But sex stuff, like, fuck, dude, I didn't even know. Like, watching Rocky Horror, I didn't fucking get that stuff, but I still enjoyed it. I enjoyed the music. And then when it came to movies like Nightmare on Elm Street or the Friday the 13th, I still remember my dad saying, it's just makeup and effects and costumes. And my mom, she was putting me in performing arts stuff. So I knew about costumes, I knew how to perform, I knew how to do stage stuff. So to me it was like, maybe I had that advantage, but yet they also talked to me and said, look, they're not real, it's a show. But it's supposed to be made believable. Mm-hmm. All this bullshit like, oh, I can't believe you gotta watch this stuff. It's like, just tell them the way it is.
Yeah.
That's all you gotta do.
Or, like John said, shut the fuck off.
Yeah.
Like, what gives you the right to tell people what they can and can't make? You're not being able to tell what's real and what isn't. What is the difference between reality and fiction? And these parents and these critics didn't get that. So, you may not be interested in a movie about a fucking killer Santa Claus, but there are people out there that wanted to see that. In fact, the test reaction for the first movie was overwhelmingly positive. People were excited to see this movie, the test audience in 1984. That's why it made so much money in such a limited release. Okay, that's cool. I've never seen a movie about a killer Santa Claus or a guy who looks like Santa Claus. And there's actually a story in here. So it's not just it wasn't completely half-assed bullshit. It was actually a methodical story that was put in place, and it did things differently than most slasher films, like we talked about. The majority of them focus on, like I said, mannequins or lambs to the slaughter that were just getting ready to be killed by the killer, and we're focusing on them, yet we know nothing about them. Here, we learn about the killer, and we try to sympathize with him until he goes on his ridiculous murdering spree, and how it's a tragic story where no one helped him from the beginning. Nobody could just have him overcome this sorrow and this tragic guilt and everything that he's been subjugated to. Yeah. It gets me.
No, you're right, it does. I mean, I'm happy I watched it because it's not an all-star stellar movie, but I do think there is something there, and if it was done differently, I think it could be more effective and send a message. And with a holiday attached to it, it already has some sort of meaning that, I mean, like, you see it in his eyes that he's all excited about it as a kid. He's talking to his mom about, are we going to make it home? Can I see Santa tonight? And they're just playing it off like, oh, no, you got to go to bed because if you don't, he may not come. And all that joy is taken away from him. And that's sad in itself. Like, the one thing that we all look forward to Christmas as a kid, and now it's this tainted, horrific tragedy for him. So, like, what does he really have to look forward to? He has no parents, he's getting harmed and harassed, and he's got nothing really to look forward to. So there's an effective story in it. It's just done in an 80s slasher way, but I think it's definitely worth a watch. I mean, it's fun when you see the message that's being sent, even if it really wasn't a message to it. I mean, it does feel like, here's the script attached to a holiday because we had Halloween, Friday the 13th, was it My Bloody Valentine, all this other stuff. Now here's another here's another one. Just make it. But there is a significant amount of substance that makes it stand out, that makes it a little more, just wasn't executed very well. But it is fun and it is entertaining as well.
Favorite scenes?
What, from both of them?
Yeah, we can do both of them.
Oh, okay.
I have one for each of them.
Well, go ahead. I got to think about mine.
I mean, my favorite one probably in the original Silent Night, Deadly Night. I do like how the murdering spree took place in the toy shop. I think it was actually really set up. We had some great creepy shots of some of the toys coming to life and turning their heads. It was very done in an 80s style, but I also liked when Billy was basically losing grasp of reality and he started murdering people. There's this really creepy moment where he's stalking the one chick with the double-bladed axe, and he's singing his own Christmas carol, and it's done in a really creepy fashion, and there's a lot of good close-up imagery and the way it's set up, and the lighting is really cool in that scene. I really liked it a lot. That was probably my favorite directed sequence in the entire movie, even though Charles Sellier probably didn't direct that sequence. It was the AD who directed that sequence, so props to him. But that was probably my favorite thing. I mean, I think it gets a little out of hand, of course, when he kills the two naked teenagers, but that's in just glorious 80s fashion. But that sequence in the toy shop, I think, was probably my favorite. I mean, when it comes to part 2, you can't say no to the garbage day scene. It's the most infamous scene in the whole fucking movie. Strangling his girlfriend with a car antenna, and then probably the worst cop you've ever seen in a film shows up out of nowhere. A guy you can tell has clearly acted like a cop before in his entire life, and he just decides to put these cuffs on you, and no funny stuff. He gets a bullet through the head, and it's just
comedy gold.
It's comedy gold. I can't say no to the garbage day scene, or just the scene, because even if you've never seen this movie, at some point, you are probably going to watch that clip at some point in your life, no matter what age you are. Jeff?
Honestly, I already talked about the two that I enjoyed the most. Especially the elk head scene. Like, dude, like I said, that's probably one of the most creative kills I've seen in a long time. And it just, like I said, it stuck out because, like, how fucking brutal it really was. Like, leading up to it, yeah, there was a lot of stupidity, but, and I was like, even the lighting in that, like, how dark it was set up. Like,
it was in shadow, too.
Yeah, like, the football tackle he ends up doing at her and then just picking her the fuck up.
I like it when he got hit with the fire poker in the head and you just hear him go, oh, and he falls down the stairs or something.
And then, like, probably my favorite part from the second one was because of how ridiculous that movie theater scene was. And the fact that she explains both movies with the same fucking thing. A killer Santa Claus, and his fucking reaction is what got me. That was like, it was the fact that where it was just him going, what?
It was the convenience store robbery scene in the first movie.
And that's why it's like those two will stick out to me, because like one being very creative, the other being the fact that it's a satire of the entire fucking series. And even Ricky's like, what the fuck?
Okay, I gave it some thought.
Well, really not that hard. I'm
No,
just
but
saying.
I try to dive deep into what I can find, and I think to me it's like both good and bad. So it's the most effective in a positive and a negative way is when Billy is is when he's tied to the bed. I thought that was probably like the most effective. If you didn't feel for him then, I don't think you're gonna get what's actually going on. So it was like good that it was well done, but I also hate it because I don't like how he was treated. It was probably worse than the spanking because he can't do anything. At least when he was getting spanked, it was he wasn't chained to anything. He was able to go. He wasn't crying. I mean, he was, but he was holding it in. But this time he was crying and pleading for help, and I just hated that because I knew that they should have been helping him and not hurting, and they hurt him.
Under that concept, do you think that's why he got as big as he did? Because he felt defenseless at that moment. He felt like he never wanted to be like that again.
That's a good
possible.
point. That's a good point.
It's very possible, so that nothing like that could ever happen to him. I mean, maybe it's also one of the only things that they could do growing up in an orphanage that killed time was lifting weights or exercising.
Almost as a coping mechanism rather than...
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Plus, weightlifting's a good stress reliever.
Yeah.
So that could play an effect into it. Like, I think there's more to Billy that we could have found out in the movie, but they, push it to just being an 80s slasher film and not, like, show the psychology and effectiveness of it. But yeah, there's definitely more depth into the movie that it has that nobody really looks in. And, it's just what you see on screen is kind of what's absorbed instead of how we look at it. But that's the one scene that I gotta say is both really good and really bad, and that's what really, really brings it out. 2.
Yeah, I love the fact that you took a very serious moment and chose that, and 2, you're like, fuck it, man, whatever.
There was no serious
lighting
moment.
a cigarette.
There really isn't no serious moment in 2. I mean, it's polar opposites, man. I've seen Garbage Day so many times it doesn't get old. I mean, come on. The poor dude just... And the music, that... Garbage Day! What? No! Boom! And then that obnoxious ha 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 ha. And he spins the gun. Like, give me a fucking break.
He thinks the gun's so damn funny. He keeps looking at it and laughing.
That's right. I forgot about that. Every time he shot somebody, he was just like, "Oh fuck, this is what this does." Like, what you think it did?
I'm gonna name you Billy Jr.
Like he turns into his best Joe Pesci impression. I think the reason why he wanted to bulk up is because he wanted to beat the shit out of Mother Superior. That's probably why he got bulked.
Both of them?
He wanted to beat the shit out of her.
They wanted to beat the shit out of her. Obviously, Ricky was the one that almost... Well, he did succeed.
He did kill her.
They wanted to become tag team wrestlers.
The Brothers of Destruction over there?
Yes. With a Christmas theme. Jingle balls.
The Jingle Balls. The Jingle Boys.
The Jingle Boys. Dingle and Barry.
Oh, my God.
Santa Slayers.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Yeah.
There we go.
I like that one. It's a band. It's the next Cooper's Minions album. All Christmas songs.
And all through the night.
Oh
Not
my
a
God.
creature was stirring. Because they were fucking dead!
Because they were punished.
You talked about a rating system for this. Like, as just joking. I'm sitting here going, I would still give this movie 4 stars. Like, even out of 5, I would still say give it a 4. Because of how, like I said, the story was thought out, but wasn't executed perfectly. Like, it's very rare when I was like, I actually compliment a movie and also even rarer when I find a movie my father won't even watch. So it's like,
that's like I said. Oh, I'm taken back by that.
That is probably why I got the 4th star, because it was one of those moments of like, I found a movie. But like I couldn't even rate movies at this point. Like it's just funny because like this is the one, like, we were talking about it, like we joked about it. Garbage Day alone we joked about. But yeah, like with Christmas being what it really is, and then finally getting a movie that almost you understand the use of we can understand the killer from his point of view. The only downfall is if they remade it, like take for instance a classic like Black Christmas has now been remade twice. Do you think it would actually like come across the same way if, let's say, they take the same story for Billy and make it better?
That depends on an approach, and depending on how much control a filmmaker is going to have versus how much they won't have. Like when we were talking about the Fog remake, I guarantee that was more of a studio executive thing that said, we want this, or...
Wait, they were just like, I like money.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it was.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking vanilla.
Money.
Or if you get somebody who actually will really care about bringing out the substance and the effectiveness and the meaning to it, then yeah, you probably will get something totally different.
Because there's very few remakes like I will actually compliment. Like the one I'm always gonna say is gonna be Evil Dead, because they brought it back to that horror element.
Mm-hmm.
Another one which I would suggest is actually Amityville Horror. As much as I make fun of that series, the original and the remake are so closely intertwined, it actually expands on what everyone was seeing in the house, rather than where the first movie, it showed like this is from, I wouldn't even say the family's point of view almost. Like it just showed like, hey, this house is haunted type shit. Well, the other one actually showed that there were ghosts there. You actually got to see the little girl. You got to see that. If they would do something like that with Silent Night, I could see it actually being really well.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of making it just a slasher flick. Like, yes, it's obviously going to end up that way because that's what it is. But as long as you have the story to make it decent, I think it'll be great.
Oh, yeah. I
agree.
agree.
You got to get the right director. You got to have
a good script. That's where it all starts.
Being on the same page as the director and not have clashing creative tones, because that just doesn't create a healthy environment on a film set.
And stick to, if you want to make it good, and stick to a meaning of the story, which I think is the next way to go. If you don't stick to the real substance of it, because like I said, I got affected by it. I was like, maybe I should donate money to more orphanages or something to make sure that kids can go out and play and be happy, because these poor kids, they don't have parents. There are a bunch of people in charge of those places. I don't know if they are all nuns or sisters or religious based, but maybe they also need more people that can be a little more hands-on in parenting, and maybe give them a break because they're always around the kids 24/7, instead of them the school and the living environment is all there.
Yeah.
So there's no release for them. I mean, that's what it got me thinking about a lot of things like that more, and seeing the way how Billy was treated. And it's like, no, if somebody would need money to get him help, I'd be like, all right, well, sign me up, because if the kid went through that kind of hell, then he needs help. You don't need to medicate him. You don't need to punish him. Maybe just need somebody to talk to and let him know that he's still loved.
That's a good one. Any other final thoughts? Or
I pretty much said what I had to say. I mean, when you hear the title, you think, oh my God, what is this? But I think we really touched on a deeper meaning to it, and it is fun and it is entertaining. The second one's nothing but entertainment.
It's gold.
And if you need a break from, the happy-go-lucky stuff, and if you're a horror fan, yeah, check Silent Night, Deadly Night out.
Honestly, you can just hit us up. We'll find something. Trust me, I will find something.
Oh, yeah, Jeff will definitely find something.
He'll do some digging. It may not be much digging, but he'll... Because Colin and I would probably have to do some digging. Jeff, just the first layer of soil,
Yeah.
topsoil. There we go. I found a gem that you've never heard of. But yeah, I find myself actually hearkening back a little bit to the interaction between Billy as a young kid and the grandfather, because he even himself looks like Santa Claus, but in a mental institution. I always wonder what the hell happened to him to get him into this state. And also, another thing I've been thinking about is if parents had maybe started doing their job as parents and talking to their kids, maybe this could even be as a cautionary tale of you can't just trust anybody wearing a Santa Claus outfit. Because at the end of the day, they're just a stranger that we have no idea what their living environment is like, what they're really like on a day-to-day basis outside of a mall or a public area. I mean, because yes, a parent sees a guy in a jolly old fat guy in a snowy white beard with a red suit and 8 reindeer. I mean, he must be a cool guy, right? We don't know that. So being a parent, maybe this is a good idea for you to watch your kids, and you can't just trust anybody despite the fact that they're being set up as an image of a beloved holiday character. So maybe that's just a life lesson for you. Not everybody who wears a Santa Claus outfit is necessarily a good person. Maybe it's just a job for them. And they don't really like kids. You don't know. You don't know that. So
There's a lot of creeps out there. I mean, there's already a huge pedophilia problem, and hey, that's an easy way to trap people.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's kind of like in It, the whole premise of the clown luring the kids in.
Yeah.
You know, and they say don't take candy from strangers. So that's a very good point, John.
It's probably why everyone got up in arms, because they always relate Santa Claus to being an image of good. Well, when reality kicks you in the face, maybe not all Santa Clauses are good out there. So
It's the wolf in sheep's clothes.
exactly. And I do think that if a more competent filmmaker had stepped in to make this project, it would have been better. I said, Sam Raimi, if you chose him, he would have made a better movie. I know for a fact he would have. I know that for a fact.
So is that going to wrap things up?
I think
Sounds
so.
good.
All right. Well, thank you all for listening. We're going to sign off. This is Colin Peters.
John Rochetter.
You know what? Fuck you. You didn't even fucking do it this time. I gotta get something in. Fuck you.
Punish!
Fucking throw you in the trash.
Garbage day!
Jeff Manfred.
Stay safe. Stay crazy.
Please, somebody help me.
Oh yeah.